Chris.
Thank you. So yeah, Chris Meidinger. I'm here with Security Scorecard. I was out at a PwC event yesterday that we won. I'm myself been in security about 15 years, 10 of those living in Germany. Been to every CCC since, I don't want to admit how long, I think 21 C3. But that's actually my first time speaking at a hacker event, so this is kind of cool. I'm going to go through what we do slightly differently than I did yesterday for PwC. But I will give you a quick background who we are. Security Scorecard, we're a startup founded in 2013 by Alex Sampolsky and Sam Kasima. They were the CISO and head of compliance at Gilt Group, if any of you are familiar, as an online retailer. I'm funded by Sequoia GV. The visions or the problem that we're looking at and trying to solve is, can we instantly and non-intrusively measure overall security risk for any company in the world? And the primary use case is third-party risk management, vendor, supplier risk. I'm sure most of you in the room are familiar with, say, the Target hack that happened via a third-party air conditioner or air conditioning service company. That's the type of risk that we're looking at. I work with a number of different global companies, so I got a few up here. I'm primarily in the United States, a lot of financial services, a lot of healthcare, but I want to jump right into some more technical stuff. So the way we see the world is that, a lot of breaches, in particular, data disclosure breaches, are resulting from third parties. In fact, at this point, most large companies have good enough security controls, security programs that they're not getting hacked nearly as much through their own stuff as much as through their third parties. The way we look at the world, vendor risk management controls often fail in providing visibility into the third-party ecosystem. For those of you that work at vendors, perhaps provide cloud services, I'm sure you've all gone through the Excel spreadsheet questionnaire. Do you change your passwords very often? Do you patch your systems? That entire SIG, SIGLite, ISO, PCI, whatever you go through. That's always fundamentally a point-in-time assessment. The auditor or the customer says, yes, we believe that on January 1st, 2016, you are secure. Now we have no idea about January 30th or February 28th or moving down through time, because these third-party risk assessments are typically always point in time. They're limited and they're subjective. Essentially, as a company, as a large enterprise, you're believing your suppliers when they tell you that they really do patch all the time and they really do close security vulnerabilities. The approach we've taken to solving this problem, I got a couple of screenshots from our platform up here. And I'll run through sort of how, actually I'm going to skip to it, use a different slide for this. The approach that we've taken to this problem is what I've got up here. So essentially we start at the bottom collecting data. So we have various different data feeds, our own sinkholes, our honeypots. We look at all of IP4 space, look at every TLS server on the internet, look at the encryption settings for every TLS server on the internet, look at every certificate, look at malware, C2 calling home, scrape GitHub for API keys that have been mistakenly placed there, scrape pastebin for passwords, etc. And put it all in a big data store. That's what we call threat market. And I'll demo threat market for just a second in a minute. In a separate process, we attribute the entire internet to which companies run that IP space. So we look at obviously registry data, ARIAN, RIPE, who is type stuff, BGP, passive DNS. Look at certificates, where the CNs point back to, in order to create a footprint for pretty much any company. Currently monitor about 100,000 companies. Although that's just typically the ones we've started looking at or some customers started looking at. We can automatically begin monitoring new companies pretty much at any time because we have this back-end data. I break that up into, I've got these grades per risk factor, break the different finding types up into different risk factors, and then weight companies against each other. We're not out saying you have exactly 6, not 5, not 7 vulnerabilities. We're saying of the types of data we can observe, looking at your TLS settings, looking at the open ports on your network, looking at the malware that we see calling home from your network, how secure is one company comparatively to another, and put that in essentially what are American school grades A through F, in Germany be 1 through 6, I'm not sure what it is here. in order to give vendor risk managers a fairly easy comparison in order to understand how secure one company is versus another. And that boils into the platform. So I've got the names obscured to protect the guilty of which companies these are. But essentially, there's a portfolio of companies, each with a different security rating, each of which is broken down, if you click into the company, into those 10 factors. And then I've got the second view, the bottom right here, of the overall portfolio grades. And so you can see, of all of my vendors, which companies have which types of security issues, what's the most common issue, which companies have been decreasing, so which companies have gone from a high to a low grade in the last 7 days. That might indicate that a breach is imminent, or it might indicate that they just quit funding their security team or fired them all and aren't patching. In which case, as a large enterprise, you may want to rethink your relationship to that company. So I will hop in just for a second, because this is a technical conference and this takes a minute for this to flip into some of the back-end data, just to show you sort of what we've got. Because the one use case is pure vendor risk, and that's the sort of front end I was showing you here. The other use case for this back-end threat market data is penetration testing, auditing. We were talking to Price Waterhouse yesterday. A lot of the stuff that we have in this store just available at any time is sort of the first early steps of a pen test, or the scoping, discovery, reconnaissance for an audit, pen test, whatever. And so we built this big data store. We just have all this data. Don't log on to these accounts, if you would. I don't know. Who cares? 2 minutes, perfect. Just another couple examples. Just coming up, just 3 minutes ago, I just hit post.lu into the banner grabs. We maintain a store of banner grabs from across the internet. So we've got various different Apache types, NGINX, different data, different ports. We can search all of this by whatever port. I didn't look if there's any. Let's do port 23 at Oracle. And so this is leveraging the fact that we've attributed different parts of the internet to different companies, and so we can go very quickly and figure out where does Oracle have Telnet running, a semantic Raptor firewall. Wow, does that thing even get updates anymore? All right, and so this is the type of data that it can be used. It feeds the actual product, but it can equally well be used for auditing, pen testing, lots of different ethical stuff. So another example, just looking at leak passwords. We scrape Pastebin, a number of different leak sites in order to find password dumps, and we save those, and then again we attribute them versus the company in order to arrive at scorecards like this one. So this is, I'm not going to be able to go in a lot of depth, but this is the current Cisco scorecard. We got a 76%, and we've had in the last 90 days discovered 2 different passwords that are at risk. Bubble this up. Again, we're not saying that Cisco is good or bad for having 2 passwords leaked. We're making a comparative assessment. How many Cisco passwords are out there versus Juniper versus Palo Alto, whatever else? Thank you very much.